Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to go over how to install a curved shower rod. Now this is an incredibly easy thing to do, so we're going to knock this out real quick. So let's get started. Alright, to start the assembly process, just pick one of the sides you want to assemble. Now I'm going to start with side A. And side A has three unique pieces to it. So you've got this plastic piece, which is flat on one side here. And then your 1-inch diameter pipe, which is flat right here at the top of the pipe. And then you also have a small little screw hole right there, and that is going to face up during the installation process. And then your black bracket here has a on the inside, identifying it. Okay, now take your bracket and you need to line up the holes in the bracket with the holes in the pipe. Now again, you want that small screw hole facing up. So we're gonna line it up here. We're gonna take our pin, drop it in, now retain it in place. Now turn it over. From the other side, take the screw pin and you're gonna screw it in. All right, once you get it threaded by hand to begin with, go ahead and take your Allen wrench and tighten it down. All right, now it's secured in there. And the last step for this, take your plastic piece, flat side up, go with the flat side in the rod and just put it in the hole, tap it in, and then before moving on, grab your end cap and just slide it down so it's on there. You do not want to fix it into place yet though. Okay, now to assemble side B, the only thing you want to make sure you're paying attention to here is that the flat side of side B is also going to face up so that it can line up with side A. So as far as assembling B, it's going to be the exact same process. Take your bracket, line up the hole, drop your pin inside of it, just like that. Flip it over so you can access the other side. Take your screw, screw it in by hand to begin with, and then finish it off with your Allen wrench. And the last two pieces, you have a little plastic piece for this one as well. It's perfectly round. You're going to slide it down. It's going to go right in here. Push it all the way in. And last of all, your end cap again, slide it on. Okay, last step, you need to connect the two sides we just assembled. And to do that, you're going to use this tiny little screw right here. And it's going to go into the hole right there. So we're going to take side B, insert it into side A, and again that flat side lines up with the flat side on A. You're going to slide it in and then just take that little screw, drop it right in there, get it going by hand, and take your smaller Allen wrench and tighten it down. And that's it. The two sides are now assembled and now it's fixed in place. So if you need to make adjustments for the length of it, for major adjustments, you're going to make your adjustments here. When you need to make smaller adjustments though, you're going to come to side B and you can make your adjustments right here because this will twist and essentially it screws and unscrews. So as you twist it, it will either get larger or smaller. Okay, now that the rod is fully assembled, you can now adjust it to get it to the width of the bathroom that you're trying to install it in. Now, you don't want to tighten down the screw all the way. That way you still have the ability to slide the rod in and out to make it longer or shorter based off of your needs. Once you determine your actual length, that's when you want to tighten this down completely. And if you still have a little bit of room, or I should say if you still have a little bit of space, where it's not fully tight, like it has a little bit of wiggle room in and out, that's all right, because you have some small adjustments you can make with this part of the rod right here. So for my overall width adjustment, I'm going to put it up to roughly where I want it, and then I'm just going to extend it, apply pressure to both sides, and now at this point, I can tighten down that screw so that it can't get any shorter than this. All right. And that's essentially what's going to be the width of my rod. Now, from this point, what you could do is this particular shower rod is capable of being a tension mount, which is just how much tension is on your left and right side, which will hold it up against the wall or within your shower stall itself if you want. I prefer to do a permanent mount, which you can do, and that's why you can assemble this rod to begin with, because what it will help you do is you essentially tension mount it to start with in the exact spot you want, and then while it's held in place, you can mark your holes for where your screws are going to go, and you don't have to worry about trying to get a precise measurement and then trying to get the rod up there and making sure it lines up and everything's level. You just assemble the rod first, tension mount it in place, mark your holes, and then everything will be perfect when you take it down and then put it back up again with the screws in it. So to determine overall height and where I want it as far as forward and back in relation to the tub, that's going to be based on a couple of factors. For your height wise, that's the easiest one to determine. That's going to be based off your preference and what shower curtain length you want on there. Now most people go with a 6-foot shower curtain, which is a 72-inch long curtain. I'm going to be putting a 7-foot curtain on here, so it's 84 inches. And then you don't want your curtain to touch the floor. There should be at least 2 inches of space between the curtain, the bottom of the curtain, and the floor. So for me, I want it a little bit higher. I want it to go about midway up the tub wall here. And so I need to bring my curtain, I need to bring the rod and mount it up at around 91 inches. And this also takes into account that the hangers that the curtain is going to hang from have about an inch, where once I put it on there, the curtain will hang down another inch because of the hangers itself. So if you want to get real technical, take all those measurements into account. If you just want to kind of eyeball it, then just add essentially 2 inches from however long your curtain is, and that's where you want to mark it for your height. Alright, so if height adjustment is based primarily off of your shower curtain that you want to buy, the width or the depth of where the rod is going to go based off your shower. The general rule of thumb for a straight shower rod is you want to line up with the edge of your tub. Okay, but with a curved rod, it's going to work a little bit differently because, of course, that curved portion is going to stick out a little farther. So what you don't want is you don't want to put your brackets at the edge of the tub, because that means your curved part is going to stick out here, in which case water would be able to fall down onto the bathroom floor. So I have to back up the bracket a little bit, but it's going to be based off of how big of a curve you have. So for instance, if a shower curtain rod like mine has 3 inches of curve in it in this current size bathroom, right? So what I'm going to do is I need to back it up an equal amount from what's also going to stick out past the edge of the tub. So in this case, the 3 inches curve, you divide it by 2. So that means 1.5 inches. So with the edge of the tub being my measurement, and for me that's 30 inches from the back wall, then I subtract 1.5 inches off, that's 28.5. That's where the center line of my bracket's gonna go. So it's gonna be at 28.5 when I put the holes in the wall, and then the curved part of the rod will end up sticking out to about 30 inches, or sorry, 31 to about 31.5 overall. That's going to give you your proper curve while also keeping your curtain in its correct spot with it not trying to stick way out into your bathroom. Alright, since I know where I want my shower rod to be at, I'm going to mark it on the wall, and I'm going to use some blue painter's tape so that I don't leave permanent pencil marks on the wall to begin with. So to do this, I'm going to start, I'm going to measure my depth basically for where the rod is going to be, and for me that's 28.5 inches from the back wall is where I want it. So I'm going to measure out, and I'm just going to throw some blue painter's tape over that area to start with. And now I'm going to mark my line. Ooh, should have moved that tape a little farther to the right. Okay, next step is to measure my height, and for me that is 91. And we're going to go with 91.5. So I'm going to slide my tape in here, and we want it about right there. And I'm going to throw my pencil line on there. Alright, now I got my height. And since my initial depth measurement was really off, I'm going to have to redo that one because it's a piece of tape. So I'm just going to throw another piece of tape up there. And we'll play this game again. Alright, now I'm going to extend my lines using level. And now I have my center point for where my bracket needs to go. Alright, since I got my measurements marked on the wall, and now I've got my rod up here, and I've lined it up. And what you want to make sure is that your screw holes are going to go vertical. So you got a hole on top, hole on bottom, you got arrows that point to them, and you're going to want those to go perfectly straight up and down. And so I've got both sides exactly where I want it. And the big thing, of course, is making sure that the bar is level, which it is. And at this point, since it is held in place by the tension, I can use my pencil and mark my holes. Now, if you don't want to do a permanent installation, this is all you really need to do. Once you have it in the spot you want, you make sure it's fully tight and you got enough tension on there, and you can leave it like that. But if you want to do the permanent, then at this point mark your hole. And then once you get both sides marked, take the bar down, come back, drill your holes, put your mollies in, and then you can put the bar back up and put the screws on. I'm going to drill my pilot holes first, see if I hit a stud. So you can see my painter's tape, when it came off, ripped my paint. Luckily, this room hasn't been redone yet, so it's not a big deal, but it's annoying. Okay, now that I got the rod back into position and it's roughly over the mollies right now, I'm going to go ahead and put a screw in on this side to hold it in place and try to get it correctly in on that side. Just put the screws in far enough to hold it in place, and then I will add some more tension with the rod and then screw it down completely at that point. Fully secure. It is still very level. So at this point, it's all the way installed, and now we can cover up our brackets. And what you got is you have two little like nipple indents here, and they line up with your screws. So there we go. The other one. Little bit, there we go. Alright, that's it, that's full installation. Alright, so unfortunately I don't have a shower curtain to put up. I went out and checked multiple stores and no one had a 84-inch long curtain in stock. So I'm going to have to order one online, unfortunately. But this is fully complete. And this was really easy to do. So if you just want to tension mount it, this is extremely quick, easy process. You just assemble the rod and throw it up there and just, get it set in place with the tension. And I highly recommend just doing the permanent installation though, so that it is a lot more secure that way, and it's really not that difficult. So if you like this video, then go ahead, please give me a thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and I got more content to come, so stick around and we'll see you next time on the DIY Grunt.